Yeah, let's address this question. Will AI take people's jobs or has it already taken?
So what is going on is that AI will not take people's job, but someone who is an expert in AI will definitely take your job. You have to upskill yourself to become accustomed to the new tools.
True.
That person will definitely do it.
But I think you will have the advantage of everything because you're getting a degree again from Boston University.
Yes.
Plus, you're pretty much skilled in AI. So you will take everyone's job.
I will not.
Yeah, what's the difference between management and leadership?
Yeah, they're completely different, right? Management is where you are basically managing a group of people or a project, and leadership is you don't like as a leader. Your basic goal is to make sure that your team is motivated, make sure that the expectations are clear. Like you have to make sure that your project is moving forward. That is what you. As a manager, you are directly attached to a project, or you're directly attached to an outcome. As a leader, you are attached to multiple outcomes, and there's a lot of strategic things that goes into it. It is not like I'll do this and then I get this output.
Okay. Where do you see yourself after 5 years?
This is also a question that I always ask.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Indian Business Times podcast. Today, we have a very special guest with us, all the way from Delhi to Chandigarh at our studio. He's none other than Mr. Aneesh Jain, who's the global CTO of a company called ThrivePass. So, without further delaying it, let's welcome Mr. Aneesh Jain. Aneesh, most welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Akshay. I appreciate that.
How are you today?
Great. It's good to be here. Uh, like heard a lot about Chandigarh, so I was really happy to at least travel and get here.
Right. I hope the weather is better in Chandigarh than Delhi.
I think so, yeah, because I was expecting a bit more cold, but I like the weather that I'm seeing so far.
Right.
It's very pleasant.
Correct. Chandigarh scores well on that.
Yeah,
That's there.
yeah.
So, Anish, let's start from talking about you. Your professional journey from the beginning, so that the audience feels a great connect with you from the starting itself. So let's hear your story.
Yeah, no. So I started my journey from working in HCL. That was an IT service company back in the days. So I always was fascinated by gadgets. So I always thought that okay, if there are things that can do your work, like why do yourself? Like just there's sort of that lazy attitude that helps, and then that helps that you want to automate everything, right?
Right.
That is how I got into technology, and HCL gave me an opportunity to see everything in end to end. Like I was working in the internal project, and I was like, okay, so this is how it is done, and you basically get a business problem, and I could see everything that how things are pushed to production, right? So that helped a lot, and then I progressed my career to my founding my own company, and with my friend, we decided that okay, let's start doing this for other clients,
Okay.
right? And then start helping them in terms of creating their applications, helping their use cases and everything. So that is where we moved next. And then I joined ThrivePass, and ThrivePass has been amazing. Uh, a lot of exposure in terms of leadership, a lot of exposure in terms of growing teams, working with a global team. So that is how I came here, and then uh, started my journey from creating applications myself, and then now I lead a team who does it,
Okay.
and how to grow that team. That all is exciting things.
Right. Great. Okay. So ThrivePass की बात अगर कर रहे हैं, so let's know more about ThrivePass and what it does.
So ThrivePass deals in employee benefits industry. So what we do is that we create. So our motto is that we want to create a personalization into user experience. Personalization create a better user experience for employee benefits.
Employee benefits. Okay.
That is what we really want to do. We deal in all sorts of employee benefits. We started with lifestyle spending account, where if an employer wants to give money to an employee for a certain category,
Acha.
so they can give that money, and then that employee can spend that money, and we make sure that the money is spent in the right way.
Okay.
So if you got money to be fit, you should not be able to spend it to get a pizza.
Right.
Right? You have our marketplace, and you can purchase products or services from there.
Okay. ThrivePass has its own marketplace.
Yeah.
So it's like thrivepass.com and then you can enter the marketplace.
Only for
Employees,
employees, right? So
right? Not for everyone.
not for everyone. We are into B2B, right? So all the employers that we work with, their
Mhm.
employees can access our system.
So what are these products like? If you can.
Yeah, any product. So we have things like Peloton bikes, we have Apple Watch,
Okay.
anything and everything. We have a specific team that basically their work is to make sure that we keep on upgrading our marketplace, adding great vendors, adding new things, so that
Hmm.
the employees, when they come to our platform, they can get a good variety of things to select from.
Okay. So does it also mean that let's say I want to buy an Apple Watch
Hmm.
today, and I go on Mintra maybe
Hmm.
or Amazon, right? So definitely, will I get a better price
Yeah,
with ThrivePass?
yeah. And then you also get to use the money that your employer gave.
Hmm.
And if your employer gave $200 and the thing that you want to buy is 300, you can pay 100 from your card.
Okay.
So you'll be able
Awesome.
to completely use that amount. And
Hmm.
then, so that is how we make it easy for everyone.
Understood. So talking about the Indian context,
Mhm.
employee benefit schemes या ऐसे programs,
Mhm.
Indian companies में what do you think वो चलते हैं या अगर चलते हैं तो what do you think is lacking currently in uh, in the Indian corporates?
I think a lot of, especially with work from home, for example, a lot of companies started giving that work from home allowance,
Hmm.
saying that, okay, if you want to set up your, I mean, with COVID-19, when that hit, um, all the companies were in a shock of how to make it work now, right? All the
Hmm.
employees, some people don't even have a good setup at
Setup
home.
correct. True. True.
So a lot of companies started giving out that budget, saying that, okay, we can give you a budget, go buy a nice chair, go buy a nice desk for yourself.
Okay.
So if you talk about that in ThrivePass, we can create a wallet for that and just say that, okay, that's like a work from home
Mm-hmm.
allowance. And if you are already buying something outside of ThrivePass's marketplace, then you can just get it reimbursed. So we have that functionality as well.
Hmm.
I feel like in Indian context, companies are now learning about the benefits of wellness and
Hmm. Hmm.
how important it is to be fit. Even to our India office, we offer this wellness wallet where you get money and then you can use it on spas and gyms, things that you should become healthy. So
Okay.
I feel like that mindset is getting created.
All right.
That has been missing, I would say, for a long time. At least not in not very visible, but
Not
it's
very
getting more
visible.
visible. Yeah.
But do you think some Indian companies are exploring employee benefits programs in a great way? I mean, do we have such Indian companies?
I'm sure we do.
Uh,
Not aware of everything, but overall, I feel like companies have started thinking about it.
okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Right. So let's talk about AI
Hmm.
and ThrivePass. How AI enabled ThrivePass's backend is. That's what I'm saying. That how AI enabled
Hmm.
ThrivePass's backend system is.
Uh,
What use of AI do you guys make?
we we have started. So AI obviously took the
Hmm.
world by storm, right? Everything
Hmm.
started becoming AI became a synonym for innovation. So a lot of companies. So
Right.
that is what we started doing at ThrivePass as well.
Hmm.
One thing that we have seen that people don't do really well is that they just use AI for the sake of using it. So at ThrivePass, we started creating, okay, how can we really use it? We started
Right.
creating a dedicated attention on it.
Hmm.
And then how
Hmm.
can we make sure that we get the best ROI out of this?
True.
There are multiple areas where we're looking at it. One being that, okay, how can we make our processes more efficient?
Hmm. Hmm.
So let's say we are talking about reimbursements, right?
Okay.
So if reimbursement approval right now is happening manually, can I automate that using AI? So the employee experience will improve. Why? Because then the approval will come in few minutes.
Right.
I was interacting with Amazon for one of my orders that I placed in US,
Hmm.
and after a few attempts, it was very clear that it is AI that is handling it. Like everything was, they even gave me the
Hmm.
refund for the order that I was trying to get, and then everything was automated,
Hmm.
nothing. So
Okay.
that is one. So
Awesome.
how can we optimize our operations? I would say.
Using AI. Right.
Um, Another is, like I said, that we
Hmm.
want to create personalization and benefits. So we have
Hmm.
started exploring options where how can we use AI? Like for example, if you purchased an Apple Watch
Hmm.
last month,
Hmm.
can we now give you suggestions for its accessories?
Okay.
So
Okay.
basically,
True.
tracking your spends,
Purchase history and
purchase
right.
history, and so this is just one example. But
Hmm.
overall, how can we personalize your user experience?
Hmm. Hmm.
so that you basically get your own version of ThrivePass. So that is another area where AI is helping.
Hmm.
And user experience, obviously, like I said, in reimbursements, if your reimbursement is approved in 1 minute, then that will create an amazing user
Right.
experience.
Otherwise, employees do have to wait for a month to get the amounts reimbursed.
Yeah, we have a shorter time frame, but yes, we do it in
Right.
a few days.
I hope it's one day,
Yeah, 1 to 2 days, but this will be like few minutes. I mean, just
few minutes.
system will
Right.
do it. So
Right. Hmm.
AI is definitely something that is helping, and
Hmm.
also it's important in AI that you create a version where it's a AI plus human version of the solution, not
Hmm.
truly AI. So we have basically analyzed everything
Hmm.
before we have positioned ourselves in that area.
Right. So since if a lot of things are AI enabled these days,
Mm-hmm.
including ThrivePass, of
Mm-hmm.
course, compliance कितना important है इन सब चीज़ों के लिए? Because when AI comes, definitely there are a lot of देखो pros तो हैं और cons भी हैं. So compliance में कैसे how do you deal with the compliances using when you're
Yeah.
using AI?
Especially when we work with employee benefits,
Hmm.
that is where we get access to a lot of sensitive information, so we have to keep
Right.
it. So compliance is at the forefront of what we do.
Hmm.
We have a full team which takes care of that. Okay, what are the compliances that we have to, like, for example, Europe just released AI Act,
Okay.
EU AI Act.
Hmm.
So we are already aware of it. We're already analyzing it to see that, okay, how can we make sure that the AI implementations that we're doing should be compliant with it.
Hmm.
So we stay ahead of all these things. And now your US and other countries will follow suit and they'll create their own versions of AI.
Hmm.
The main challenges with AI is that one is data security. So you have to make
Right.
sure the data stays within your instance and should not be used to train the broader model,
Okay.
and there should not be any data sharing. So
Okay.
if as an employee of company one,
Hmm.
I am putting my information, the employee of company two should not be able to see any different information because of that.
अच्छा.
So how can you segment data in a way that is cybersecurity? That is kind of privacy.
Hmm. Right.
And how are we doing it? Second challenge with AI is biasing. So if, for example, you are approving in recruitment process,
Mm-hmm.
you're approving a candidate and all are, let's say, male candidates. So can AI become biased
Hmm.
towards an understanding, and then will also start filtering candidates according to the bias that it has created? So we
Okay.
have to be ahead of it and then make sure that there is no bias which is created in the AI models. So
All
all
right.
that,
Hmm.
now you map it with all the policies and procedures and compliances that we have.
Hmm.
That is what we do. And then what we do is our compliance team has independent oversight. So our compliance team has a direct hotline to the board of directors, and we present annually to them saying that, okay, what are we doing? So that enables us to that gives teeth to that team, and
Hmm.
then in case there is something that is being implemented which should not be the case because that does not satisfy compliance, then we make sure that that is not worked on, and we get a great amount of support from our leadership.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that is what we do. Make sure that everything is compliant.
Right. Okay. Okay. So I have a question. So you've led multiple departments at ThrivePass now,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
And you're the global CTO.
mm-hmm.
So what advice would you give to leaders in managing global teams across different cultures?
Mhm. So you already said it, right? Culture.
Right.
So that is where when you have teams that are global,
Mm-hmm.
then every country is different. Every country has a different way of giving and receiving feedback. For example, in certain countries, people would want their managers to help them uh, progress in their career path. In certain countries, people only want their managers to give them direction and they'll do everything else. So, how can you create guidelines? So, was the biggest challenge that we faced. And the advice that I would give is that, okay, don't take it lightly. Cultures are super important. And when you're dealing with global teams, there has to be you cannot have unsaid assumptions overpower the processes, because otherwise it will become a mess. So make sure that you create a very clear understanding of what is the expectation. Communicate them to the managers, communicate them to everyone so that everything can be aligned.
Right. How do you do this at ThrivePass?
So when we realize that needs special attention, we
Hmm.
basically set a full committee around it, understanding. So people from different, we have a diverse workforce. So people from that represented multiple diversity areas were a part of it, and then we created guidelines and trying to understand what are the pitfalls that we are facing right now, and guidelines around that. And then we had an education session around across the globe to make sure everyone understands That if, for example, they're working with someone in a different country, then what is the expectation?
Right.
What they should be aware of. So that is what we did. We explicitly created documentation around it.
All right. That's great. So, Anish, tell me that you're also pursuing MBA from Boston University. How is it helping you in your career now? And why did you think that having an MBA from Boston would help?
Yes. So that question itself is probably like a multiple questions. One thing, yes, I started. I have been doing my online MBA from Boston University. Um, that enables me to also work alongside doing MBA. So
Right.
when I learn new leadership concepts there, but there was this one session in the BU where they taught us about how to give and receive feedback. And I had a scenario next week where I had to give feedback to someone, and then I use that concept like immediately. So that helps a lot because why? Because you're in a leadership position, you can apply your concepts right away. You're not just learning theory, you're also applying it.
Applying it.
That is the best way of learning.
True.
Learn and apply. So that I think is the best model. Like if you can do it, because then you obviously with a distance MBA, your learning depends on you, how much you want to learn. So that helps a lot. The reason I wanted to do it was because I have learned a lot of leadership principles along the way. When I started, I did not know what is leadership. I manage people often confuse management and leadership, right? And then they don't know
Right.
what is the difference.
Correct.
So I have picked those principles, but I wanted formal education around it and build my network that can support me in that.
Right. So you talked about people do not know a difference between management and
Mhm.
leadership. So let's explore that more.
What is the difference?
Yeah, what's the difference between management and leadership?
Yeah, they're completely different, right? Management is where you are basically managing a group of people or a project, and leadership is you don't like as a leader. Your basic goal is to make sure that your team is motivated, make sure that the expectations are clear. Like you have to make sure that your project is moving forward. As a leader, that is what you have to do. Like
Right.
I sometimes say that okay, as a leader, you don't you're not an individual contributor, so you're not able to. But your value in the organization is the success of the projects that you're overseeing. That is what you. As a manager, you are directly attached to a project, or you're directly attached to an outcome. As a leader, you are attached to multiple outcomes, and there's a lot of strategic things that goes into it. It is not like I'll do this and then I get this output. Um, we have to train people, we have to understand that where is the communication disconnect. We have to create in team meetings, we have to create that safe environment so everyone can speak up, everyone can share their thoughts, right? Because that will lead to the success of the
True.
project.
Right.
We have to understand that the people that we're dealing with are actually humans. So they probably are also dealing with something in their personal life. So how can you understand that they are individual people and everyone is different, as opposed to just saying that okay, this person should have not completed this. As a leader, you have to be really vulnerable in the conversations. You have to go in there with the sense of that I want to learn, and then you want to be that, and then that is only how you can lead a team. Otherwise, without a team members, you're nothing. Like leadership is
Absolutely nothing. Right. So they say that entrepreneurs build the companies, but it's the employees that actually run them.
exactly. So on my LinkedIn, I say that I actually build high impact teams. I don't build products. I build high impact teams. My team members, like we have employees that joined us like when the company was started. They're still working with us like 9 years after. They're still working with us since 9 years.
Okay. Because of a
And
lot of employee benefits also that you give.
employee benefits, and then they believe that they have a growth path. They believe that their manager, their leaders understand them. They believe that they are heard. They believe they can be authentic in the organization. So a lot of good things, but overall, I would say that that is what you should be doing. That is how what proves that you're a great leader.
Right. Okay. So can a good manager be a good leader?
Yeah, definitely.
Can
As
all managers be good leaders?
you can, as an individual contributor, you can be a good leader.
Acha.
At the end of the day, I understand about what I say. I mean, even if you don't have a directly team that you're managing,
Okay.
but then how are you connecting? How are you managing your project and the mindset of it, and then um, the openness, the understanding the full vision, helping the teams. That makes you a leader. Like you don't have to have a team to do it.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So at ThrivePass, have you ever faced such a situation? Like, I'm sure your employees are pretty happy, but I just want to know a scenario where you must have faced such a situation, but then your team tackled it very well, and someone showed a true example of being a leader. Is there any such example at ThrivePass, or in your personal life? Maybe not in ThrivePass,
Yeah.
but if it happened to you or you've witnessed it.
Plenty of examples. So what I do sometimes is that when I want to so as a leader, what I sometimes do is that if there's there's a high impact project going on right now.
Mhm.
So if there's a high impact project going on,
Mhm.
I am in a part of that meeting, and then I was just talking to my my CEO the other day, saying
Mhm.
that I feel like this team is ready now. Why? Because I did not have to participate at all in the meeting.
Okay.
Everyone was doing what they should be doing. Everyone was interacting how they should be interacting.
Mm.
Everyone was being vulnerable. No one was accident. No one was saying rude things, or like everyone was very in a good space. So as a leader, like seeing that, I mean that okay, I have created something, or we have created something that basically can run by itself.
Mm.
So a lot of examples that way, and then a lot of times I sometimes when I'm like I was in US sometime back, and then that gave me an opportunity to test out my team members, and then now I know that okay, who all were able to step up, and then
Mhm.
whenever there was a challenge, figure this
Mm.
out. So a lot of times this happened. Yeah.
Right, great. Okay. So, ये high impact teams we have discussed a lot.
Mhm.
Let's explain what is a high impact
What is
team
the impact team?
and how do you build high impact teams.
Mhm.
And you do it at ThrivePass, or let's say you do it for consultation also for other companies, like building high impact teams.
Only for Thrivepass,
Okay.
but high impact teams. When I say high impact team, what I mean by that is that the team is most productive,
Hmm.
and the team members are happy to be a part of the team. The
Hmm.
team members are all adding a lot, tremendous amount of value, not only in their area, but in the other area.
Hmm.
They're helping other team members also create a lot of value, right?
Okay.
That is a high impact team, and then it is not just delivering a lot of features and that. No, that is not high impact. If they're learning, if they are losing, if they are not, if they had a failure,
Hmm.
they're learning from that failure.
Hmm.
They're doing an implicit retro and creating their own thing. So that is where that is what I call a high impact team. And then we have a lot of situation we have a lot of examples in ThrivePass where
Hmm.
people are at a point where just them being in a part of that team meeting, it just creates such a great impact, and the entire team functions so well together. They
Hmm.
understand the challenges of each other, so they are able to support each other in that, and they understand that okay, this person may have forgotten to do, or this person may not have thought about this. They're able to give ideas, not just about thinking about themselves,
Hmm.
but thinking about the entire project,
Hmm.
right? For example, if there's a team of developer, there's a developer, a product manager, and QA. That is typically how a team looks like. A QA, for example, a quality analyst,
Hmm.
which is responsible to test everything that a developer is building.
Right.
If that QA is not helping with the requirements,
Hmm.
right, then that is not a high impact team.
Right. Okay. Uh, so building a great team, that's your specialty, and having employee benefits at ThrivePass definitely must guarantee a lot of employee retention,
Mhm.
right? How much role does such programs like employee benefits play in retaining good employees, and why do basically employees, what do you think, they quit, and is employee benefits one of the main reasons if they don't get they quit, or how does it work like?
I do feel like culture plays an important role in employees wanting to stay at a particular company. That is like a huge thing that people usually don't give a lot of weightage to, but
Mm-hmm.
culture is great. Culture is really important. It is really important to have a great team
Mm-hmm.
that you basically go to work with. I always try not to be the smartest person in the room, so that everyone can teach me as opposed to me. So that basically everyone should feel like that if they're coming to work, that they're not the smartest person, at least in their area of expertise.
Mm-hmm.
That helps an employee stay longer. Why? Because now they have a lot to learn.
Right.
So that has helped a lot. Employee benefits definitely help. Like so, we also do reward and recognition where if you just did something really good for me, then I'll just give you a gift card, or I'll recognize you in front of everyone. and that also plays a lot of big role, because if
Hmm.
other then I don't feel like I'm siloed and my work is not
Hmm.
being noticed.
Hmm.
Then my work is visible to everyone, and
Hmm.
recognition plays a huge role, even if it is not connected
Right.
to a reward. That is also part of our benefits.
Hmm.
um, if you are in COVID-19, for I'll take that example again. When it hit, like if a company basically supported their employees by giving them those flexible wallets
Hmm.
or flexible pool of money that they can spend, that must have created a great impact, because then they, you know that your company cares, right, as opposed to
Right.
just. So I think a mix of
Right.
everything.
I think being an employee, if let's say you're working at a particular company,
Mhm.
there you are getting employee benefits, and then you apply to another company. Maybe if you're getting good salary,
Mhm.
uh, then you would still think that यार पुरानी कंपनी में तो काफी अच्छे बेनिफिट्स थे यहाँ पे नहीं मिल रहे. There can be reasons to switch back as well, I believe.
Can be, yeah, because at that point you're thinking of that benefit not in terms of its monetary value, but you're thinking that benefit in terms of the value that it is for you,
Right.
which is in apparently much higher than
Hmm.
the monetary
The
value.
monetary value.
So that can definitely create an impact. Also depends on how you've structured the benefits as a company. If
Right.
you've structured in a way that you're able to personalize it according to different employees,
Hmm.
like you'll probably have a huge diverse workforce.
Hmm.
For some people Spotify is important. For some
Hmm.
people, or any music streaming app is important. For some people,
Hmm.
it is important that they get a gym membership.
Right. Okay.
So also you should be able to create a plan that is customizable enough
Hmm.
that it takes care of everyone.
So let's say a corporate has 5,000 employees.
Hmm.
How do you make sure that plans for each of those 5,000
Hmm.
employees are customized?
Yeah, it's a huge question, not easy to answer. I would say something that you have to analyze your culture. You have to analyze. I'm using that word a lot, but you have to analyze that. You have to analyze your workforce
Uh-huh.
to understand what is important to them. You have to conduct ENPS,
Hmm. Hmm.
NPS surveys that basically tells you about
Hmm.
what your employees most care about, what is important to them,
Okay.
and
Right.
that helps you create your custom benefits that hopefully employees will value.
Okay. So I think technically it should go like you send a questionnaire to all those 5,000 employees, ask them to, fill important answers, maybe maybe just make a check mark, and then you feed that data to the AI, whatever you're using, and based on that you get inputs like, hey, Harsh likes to go to the gym,
Yeah,
Nitesh likes to eat pizza, maybe something like that. If
yeah, the definitely an oversimplified version of what would probably happen behind the scenes, but definitely something like that.
if something like this happens, then definitely it becomes a lot
Yeah.
easier for employers as well.
And then you also analyze the usage of your benefits. If, for example, you decided that these five things are important, are you analyzing the usage and then
Hmm. Hmm.
understanding if it is being utilized?
Right.
In ThrivePass, we understood we there was
Hmm.
one particular benefit where we realized that people are not using it
Hmm.
properly.
Hmm.
Even if that is getting money, that money is getting reserved in the budget.
Hmm.
Even if that money is available for everyone to use, but if they're not using it, then it is not helping anyone. So now what we are doing is we are rethinking about that benefit, that okay, how can we still
Hmm.
provide it in a way that people want to use it.
Right.
So it's kind of a culture. So we call our HR team as people and culture at ThrivePass. That is what we call, and people and culture, because that is what you end up doing.
People at culture,
People and culture.
people and culture.
Yeah.
So instead of HR managers, you have people
People
at
and
and
culture.
culture.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That is what we call them, and that is what there is there in their title. That is what is visible, because we strongly believe that
Hmm.
is what creates great teams.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a great thought. Right. So, what are some of the most common mistakes that companies make when designing employee benefits programs, and how can they avoid them?
The most common mistakes are that, according to me, the most common mistakes are that they create benefits that only cater to a certain audience of
Hmm.
the certain percentage of their employees,
Hmm.
which I already spoke about. That I think is really important.
Hmm.
Another thing is that they don't analyze the usage, and they don't figure out that okay,
Hmm.
like they're not hearing what their company is saying.
Hmm.
At the end of the day, using these ENPS surveys or getting into these conversations, we do random one-to-one conversations with our employees to figure out that okay, what is helping them, and trying to figure out those things that are important. um, that all that data should go into the determination of what benefits should be provided, what is really important. Because at the end of the day, what if you're providing your team what is really important to them? Doesn't matter if you end up spending a huge amount of money on something that people don't want. So you already spend that money, and the benefit will not be valued, because then its value is lesser than the money that you spent.
Right.
So that is really the key thing here. You have to make sure that you do it. Understand the diversity of your teams. Understand the diversity of different locations, different age groups, all the diversities, and then how can you structure it?
All right. So, since I'm sitting on this side, and today I get to ask a lot of questions, and I'm interviewing you, I must ask you that firstly, how many years has it been at ThrivePass?
9, I think.
9 years at
9 years.
ThrivePass.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you see yourself after 5 years?
This is also a question that I always ask. I think we have a great runway at ThrivePass, and I'll probably we have so much to do. In terms of benefits industry, if you talk about me personally, want to really explore compliance and infrastructure more,
Okay.
and how can we keep getting better, and how can we get to great is what really is important to me. So huge opportunities in terms of developing teams, in terms of developing technology. AI obviously will keep me excited. So that is what I feel like is how I'm going to be.
Okay. So, in your personal life, what use of AI do you make?
So a
Very
lot,
commonly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a to-do application that I always use, and they have integrated AI recently. So that's there.
Okay. What does it
uh,
do?
To-do application. So basically, what all the reminders and what things do we do. So on the basis of AI, they suggest what you should work on today.
Okay.
So that is there. It's a Microsoft application that they've integrated AI into it. Um, I use that a lot. I obviously use ChatGPT. That's kind of thing that there. In ThrivePass, we also use Copilot, Microsoft Copilot.
Right.
So
Right.
that helps us categorize our emails,
Mm-hmm.
what emails are most important that should be taken care of,
Mm-hmm.
summarizing emails and all that. So that is really helpful. If you do not, if for example I'm a part of a meeting and I could not attend that meeting, so if I get a recording, AI will summarize the entire meeting for me and then also tell me where my name was mentioned, what are the action items for me.
And which app do you use for summarizing this meeting?
Oh, it's all a part of Copilot that we
Or a
use,
part of
Microsoft
Copilot.
Copilot.
So let's say you're having a video call,
Hmm?
but you're not there, but your employees are there, let's say, and you miss that meeting. So if the call is being recorded,
Yes,
so it'll summarize.
it'll summarize everything for me.
Okay.
And then it's amazing because it will very neatly clear, they tell me the notes, it will tell me what are the action items for all the attendees of the meeting including me. It will tell me where my name was mentioned in the meeting, so I can go to that point and see if someone wanted to tell me something. It's amazing what they're doing. So that saves me a lot of time because I obviously I'm a part of a lot of meetings and sometimes I cannot attend it. And but I have two options: either I watch 1 hour recording, or I'd spend 10 minutes reviewing the notes.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
AI is actually working on, problems that matter to a lot of people, and they're
exactly.
creating solutions for it.
Yeah, so such a simple thing. I mean, what they're doing is recording. You're already recording it. They're transcribing the meeting, and that the text of the recording is being sent to ChatGPT, for example, and
Right.
all done in a compliant manner.
Hmm.
That is really important. And then they just show you you just show you everything.
Right. I even came across such a tool. I didn't use it, but somebody mentioned that they were using it. So they said that if we again record a meeting, or maybe a telephonic conversation, AI analyzes if it was a fruitful discussion or not.
Yeah,
It'll tell you. Let's say you're pitching a client, right? And it was a half an hour call, and because of the responses that the client gave, or maybe the pauses that he took, or the intensity of his voice,
yep,
it analyzes everything, and then it tells you that will this client get closed or not.
exactly. And then it also tells you about that salesperson. So it will give you feedback on that salesperson, saying that okay, what are the learning opportunities for that person? What questions did he get silent on? And what are the how did he approach the entire conversation? It'll tell you everything. And we have also we are using something similar for coders, net developers. We're going to start using it now. The tool is called GitHub Copilot, and
Okay.
that will basically help us understand the code everyone is writing.
Come again. Let's
GitHub Copilot.
GitHub Copilot. All
Copilot,
right.
very
ठीक है.
very
Right.
common now.
Hmm. Hmm.
It will basically analyze the code people are writing
Hmm.
according to our coding principles and make sure the code is compliant with what we want. And then it will analyze. It will help the developers write. I was attending this session the other day,
Hmm.
and this person had from Microsoft had a slide saying that now 66% of the code is being written by AI.
AI. Hmm.
So that is the next thing that we are starting at ThrivePass. So how can we empower our dev teams?
Hmm.
So that saves time. So when I'm not saying that the AI will write everything, I'm saying that how can AI be an assistant to a developer? So developer can focus on bigger things.
True. But like you said that writing AI compliant code.
Hmm?
So let's say 60% of the code is written by AI,
Hmm?
but then there has to be a coder, or
Hmm?
I mean, the coder has to understand that if this actually is compliant, because
Right.
we can't just, or do you think we can blindly trust what AI is writing?
No, so we have one thing is that I mean on AI side of things they have a way where you can put your policies, coding policies,
Hmm.
and so it will judge if the code is even if the developer is writing himself herself,
Okay.
then the code will be analyzed on the basis of the policies to make sure it is compliant. But
Hmm.
regardless, in our process, our code reviews are done by our technical leads or senior developers. So that human touch is still there. To your point,
Right.
AI cannot be fully automated at this point. Everything, even
Right.
Copilot still says it's in preview. Every
Hmm.
time it's in preview.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
why? Because it's still learning,
Learning.
right?
It always has to learn, I
It
believe.
always has to learn. So you have to have a human touch. To
Hmm.
your point, that's a great point, right? So even if that code is being written automatically,
Hmm.
can you have someone who can then manually review it? So
Definitely.
that is going to be a part of the process.
Right. So even if AI is doing a lot of things,
Hmm?
there still will be a human manager, the boss
Yes.
of AI, because again, it has to be cross-checked.
So there is this thing that people say that okay, people are scared that AI will take their jobs. It's um,
Yeah, let's address this question. Will AI take people's jobs, or
uh,
has it already taken?
so what is going on is that AI will not take people's job,
Hmm.
but someone who is an expert in AI will definitely take your job. Like,
Ah,
you have to upskill yourself to become accustomed to the tools.
true.
That person will definitely do it
Hmm.
because that person will be focusing on bigger things and
Hmm.
using AI as an assistant and will probably be thrice as fast.
Right.
So that is where AI is right now. I don't see any.
Hmm.
I listen to a lot of AI podcasts. We go
Hmm.
to multiple conferences and areas where we figure out that okay, how are people companies using AI right now?
Hmm.
Everywhere there is one theme where people are saying that we cannot leave it to AI.
Hmm. Hmm.
We
Right.
have to have a
Human.
human touch where
Right.
in certain area that conversation has to move to a human,
Correct.
right? Or someone should be doing a QA on
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
responses.
Right.
So that is what I don't see.
Hmm.
Like we are still growing. Like we have not
Hmm.
done anything because of AI. I
Hmm.
don't see that happening in the industry. I do feel like eventually the skill set is going to more evolve more.
Hmm.
You have to become a bit more skilled now,
True.
and
True.
you have to stay keep learning. If you think that like I
Hmm.
think that is true everywhere, right? You have to keep upskilling yourself.
Right. Skills are, I believe, more important than degrees these
Yes,
days.
yes, yep.
Right. Right. But I think you will have the advantage of everything because you're getting a degree again from Boston
Boston
University.
University.
Plus, you're pretty much skilled in AI, so you will take everyone's job.
I will not. They also this course is pretty up to date. Like they already have AI in their course curriculum, so it is good to see that. But yeah, no, I think that is the best thing that you should do. Keep learning, and that is in
Hmm.
technology. That is where also my thing of learning in MBA, my doing MBA came from, because in technology you have to constantly learn the
Hmm.
new
Hmm.
things. Today's
Right.
AI, yesterday it was blockchain,
Huh.
right? New things are coming up every
Hmm.
day. You
Hmm.
have to keep yourself ahead of the game,
Hmm.
and that is where my learning mindset is. And if I don't learn, I feel like I'm not doing anything.
Hmm.
So I have to learn every day, and that is what fuels my mind. That fuels me, that I'm learning new things, and that how
Hmm.
it should be.
Right. Okay. So, Anish, a few important things
Hmm?
that you want to tell our viewers through this podcast.
Few
Which
important,
is a takeaway for them.
yeah. Few important things. One. embrace leadership, I would say. Um, Leadership is not like, it should not be something that you can become. Leadership is something you become a leader if your people think you are a leader. Like, you cannot become a leader just because you think you are a
You
leader.
think, yeah, correct, correct.
Right. So I think leadership is really important. Second, I would say constant learning. That is one thing that I have always followed in my life. I always still do. I will continue to do. Doesn't matter. Like, figure out what you want to learn. Keep learning. Um, Whoever has worked with me since last few years, uh, when I have worked with my managers in last few years, I've always seen that they have always supported my learning and growth, and that is what I also do to whoever works with me. So that is super important. Keep learning. It is AI to today, something else tomorrow. Management, whatever you feel like is going to, and education is really important. So
Right.
that will be the second thing. Um, yeah, these two things probably, learning and leadership. Yeah.
All right. So I believe that's a great takeaway, and
Mm.
everyone should learn to become a good leader,
Mm.
like Mr. Anish himself. So, guys, that was Mr. Aneesh Jain, Global CTO of ThrivePass. And thank you for listening to the entire podcast if you're still listening. And do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Signing off. If you like this podcast and want us to do more podcasts like this, then do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Signing off.